Hey everyone, Hazza here, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're back for another Pick'ems video for the biggest event of the year, no less. It is Champions in LA that will be starting from August 6th, so we figured we would give you our predictions, at least for the group stage to start things off. I'm joined by Kairo and PAL. Kairo, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. Oh, when you said the biggest event of the year, I thought you were talking about beacons for a second. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm excited to be here, pal. How are you doing?
All the worse for hearing that joke, that's for sure. But apart from that, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a big clash of hopefully at least some high-quality teams. And some that are falling apart on the inside. Anyway, apart from that, should be some good Valorant.
Oh, okay, interesting. I think we have to address the elephant in the room, or the room.
No offense taken.
The room is a little different. Kairo, we had a change of scenery for you joining us today.
I'm in the kitchen, mate. I'm in the kitchen. I've been banished from my flat. No, I'm looking after my mum's dogs.
Nice.
So maybe they'll make an appearance throughout the video.
He's in the kitchen
cooking with some opinions.
Cooking? That's what we need to find out. So let's head straight into this one. Group A. This one is an interesting group. I feel like there's some strong teams in here, but for the most part, I think this one's fairly tame. I wouldn't say that this is the most exciting out of all the groups that we have, but nevertheless, we need to levy some predictions. Starting off, PaperX versus Crew. I thought Crew had a great run at that in LCQ, but for me, I mean, PaperX probably just are the better team here. You're talking a top 4 team last Masters event. Oh, didn't see you there. Speaking of PaperX, did you know that their global win percentage on Bind is 67%? The same as it was at Masters Tokyo, and also the same as the amount of viewers that aren't currently subscribed to my channel. Make sure you hit the button down below, smash the bell, and type in the comments and let me know who you think it is that's going to make it out of groups. Back to the video. Lock that in. I don't know, any disagreement amongst the class?
No, PaperX are winning it for sure.
They still offloaded a few maps against Leviathan as well, which are a team I'm, a little disappointed not to see turn up here. Now back to Crew being the biggest LATAM team, I guess. There we go. PaperX with something as well we have to add. So potentially, depending on how this group goes, there's a chance that they can really kick on. EDG Giants, a lot more difficult, I would say, to call. Bit more of a 50-50 in my opinion. Edwards have had more time to prep for this one. Giants didn't show too much in LCQ, I think it's fair to say. It was an absolute mess. I watch partied it, and quite frankly, I was not too impressed with the overall level.
I would say EDG going to win this. I feel as if, they've got more. I can't believe it. I feel as if they've got more international experience as a roster, especially this year. Like being at Tokyo, I just feel as if they'll get more firepower as well. Giants haven't shown enough in LCQs to convince me otherwise.
I would go with EDG overall as well.
Yeah.
I think Giants certainly have the potential to beat them. This is one of those 55-45 or 60-40 games for me. But I think Kara's right on a couple of those points. EDG, if they can play to the level that they did at Tokyo for a lot of their games, I don't think Giants, even if they do perform well, can match it. However, if EDG do take a step back, there's plenty of enough talent in the Giants roster with enough structure there to be able to take them quite comfortably. So I think it could be a clean sweep either way. But I'll go for EDG.
I've been a bit of a Giants believer for a while. I think they showed a lot of quality, at least towards the start of VCT EMEA this year. There's potential there. Yeah, I mean, you've both gone for EDG here. I think a big thing for how well they end up doing will be if players like Smoggy, for example, turn up, because all of the headlines caught by Kang. But you look at this guy specifically on the Breach, for example, I was really impressed by. I think their Haven was fantastic, and that was sort of a main component of it. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm leaning more towards Giants on this one, but look, we'll just lock in EDG for now as we sort of progress through what the group opinion is.
So I went for Crew. Something with like the form that they're on, I feel as if it's going to be like we've just been beat by PaperX, then they bounce back straight away sort of thing. I feel as if like the Crew Giants game, if that is going to be the case for me, will be so hard to call.
I think it's going to be a Giants win.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think they've got a sufficient talent within the roster, and I don't think Crew's run of momentum really continues into this event. If you look at this game in isolation, I'd back Giants' ability to prep for and ultimately on an individual level be able to counter anything that Crew throw that is particularly spectacular. Crew have came up with a lot of ideas that they use in LCQ on a lot of new maps, a lot of cool new comps. But they can be countered. There's plenty of material on them there, and I think Giants will be feeling pretty fresh coming into this.
I guess like another way to look at this as well is like, and I know like Crew will have more prep time than Giants because Crew are already set up in LA, no, for like NA.
Yeah, that is very true. I mean, at least in terms of climatizing, but at the same time, I don't think that plays too big of an impact for me. While the qualification is a little bit different to what it was outside of the franchising system, I think it might be that same Crew which turns up to an international event, as they did both champions so far. They're one of the teams that has been at every single champ so far, and I can't see them making it through here. Then into the upper bracket, because I think we should probably speed this up a little bit. Paper X EDG, I think Paper X are just a bit better. This is going to be a really nice matchup to watch, but
absolute chaos.
Don't see them. Yeah, it's going to be disgusting.
Yeah, do you know something? I feel as if Paper X are going to swamp EDG because, like, when you look at the chaos there, Paper X, I feel as if are going to be able to do better at dealing with Can, and that's my point.
Yeah, I think he could just end up getting completely overrun in that.
There's actually going to be a big hole in the middle of the arena where Something and Can just enter into their own main character anime battle. It's gonna and then the 1v1 decides the whole series.
Exactly what I'm hoping for home ground when it comes to Tokyo, because it's in a sumo arena. If they just get the two main AWPers or duelists just sit in the middle and like wrestle it out.
I was gonna say PAL's probably was like a massive enjoyer of anime. Anyway.
What?
False news. Anyway, the decider game, EDG versus Giants. I'm backing Giants this time around. I think they see enough of what EDG brings. They prepare, they learn better, and they've got a higher level of fundamentals to guarantee that consistency when they need it.
I mean, I can see Crew being the 0-2 team. And then, like,
Paper X being the 2-0 team.
Yeah, exactly. But then just not knowing where exactly the mid-ground fits between these two, because they are fairly similar in that regard.
I think Hazza and PAL are talking absolute nonsense, and I think it's going to be EDG and Paper X to qualify.
No, look, she's clearly showing her discomfort at such statements being brashly made. So, sure, I guess, look, I would not complain with a Paper X Giants coming out of this group.
Yeah.
I think we'll leave it at that. I've got to press the submit button to lock it in. That is our Group A selection. Group B, I guess the best way to look at this would be how we did the last one. Who's your 0-2 team? Who's your 2-0 team? For me, both of those play against each other. Match number one. I think EG are going to walk out of this flawlessly, and I don't see FPX progressing.
Correct. I agree. There's not even any point discussing it. I don't think the Chinese region are developed enough to. I feel as if like EDG are an outlier.
I wouldn't necessarily say EDG are an outlier in too much of a regard. If we want to delve into this conversation about the Chinese region as a whole, I think they have benefited from having a little bit more stage experience, considering they were also at Champs 2022. But yeah, EG, big thing for me here, as I said before, like with EDG needing certain players to step up and things like that, the pressure is different for them this time around because, of course, this is the first time they come into an event where they actually have a lot of expectation placed upon them, right? I don't think people were even expecting them to qualify to Tokyo, let alone make it to the final. So now, obviously, that's a lot more inflated. And if you look at the rest of this group as well, it's not exactly teams which have been trailblazing their way through recent competitions. Thinking Foot T1, for example, I don't think they even made the knockout stages of Tokyo. Not too sure which way I want to flip this, but I might be leaning more towards T1, at least in this opening matchup.
Yeah, I went, like, in my head, I'm saying T1, but my heart says Foot. So I went with Foot, but I think T1 could easily beat them. I think
T1's going to do it. I think they'll have sufficient balance across the roster in terms of what they're capable of actually bringing to the server to edge ahead of Footballist. But I think this is probably as close as you'll get for me to a 50-50 at this event. I think Footballist, as we said, if we agree in the T1 go through, Footballist then beats FPX. That T1 Footballist, I presume we're saying that T1 Footballist decider is going to be a big game.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think we can probably safely assume that EG then walk through this one. Not walk through necessarily, right? I think T1 can definitely cause them issues. And actually, there is a part of me which sees this potentially being a T1 upset.
Yeah.
The expectation is Evil Geniuses can make it through this first opening matchup. Then coming into the winners game, there is a little bit more pressure against a team that has additional experience, additional caliber in that regard. Still, we expect them to make it out. Elimination game, it would be Foot to take it, which then brings us into the T1 Footballist rematch. And I can genuinely see Footballist showing up here and qualifying against T1 from this position. My big thing with Foot is they're very hit and miss. If they start well, then they end up doing pretty good. But there are times when they can buckle a little bit. And I think there's a high potential for them to bounce back after this elimination game.
I think Satya player versus Kiwi is going to be a big one to kind of look out for in matchups. I know it's Julius versus Julius, but I think like the two of them pretty decent, and whoever turns up will probably carry their team forward.
Perfect, we'll go with that then.
Okay, cool. Cheers, pal. So locking it in now. Bosh, there you go. Moving on to Group C. This one, there's an upset in here somewhere, man. I can smell it.
No, it's not happening. Zeta Division aren't doing it.
Oh,
They're not doing it.
It's
Fnatic are going 2-0. Billy are going 0-2. And the only team that Zeta is going to beat is Billy in the elimination game.
You see, that's the thing. When I said I smell an upset, I didn't say it was going to be Fnatic. They do go 2-0. Right?
But you think Billy are going to beat NRG, don't you?
But I think there's something in there somewhere, man. It's either a Zeta or Billy. One of them is getting the guns out. The sun is out. The guns are out. And I think that there's something in there, man. I can taste it.
The only place they could be is if you look at lore, if you look at the Champions lore, Billy beating NRG because NRG play poorly in the first group stage game of an international tournament and they don't have enough prep. But there's no way they're losing a deciders game. So they either lose to Billy, beat Zeta in the elimination game, and then beat Billy again in the deciding game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think NRG win this one at least, right? But the upset could be in the decider game.
Oh, I don't think it happens. I don't think there's a chance of that happening there. With who NRG have got and how they develop themselves.
It's like, this is the funny thing, right? I was thinking about it. I could smell it. And then I remembered what Billy were playing in the Chinese qualifier on the Odin, I believe it was, dashing in on the
Dashing in with Jet, yeah.
And that was just a bit crazy. I think more than anything else, I might actually just like to watch Fnatic Billy because I have absolutely no idea how that would end up going, other than a Fnatic win, of course. But I don't know. They're a cool org, right? I'm a big fan of Bin from their LPL team, I believe it is. I don't know. It would be cool to see them sort of build up a bit in this game, the same way that I would like to have seen more from Damwon Kia, I think, in Korea, back when they had those qualifications for international events there and it wasn't in franchising. I'm actually going to say that Billy win this opening match. I think it could be fun. We'll see where that one goes. Zeta, NRG, feel like you just have to then say that NRG make it through this lower bracket. If you want to go back historically then as well, it was NRG lose the opening match, and then also when Zeta Division played Fnatic last, they knocked them out. So you could lean into that maybe, but I know what you mean. It's just a little too much.
Yeah, I think the difference between Fnatic back then and Fnatic now is massive.
They didn't have Durka, and they had Hyber on dual list. They it was Magnum's last event for them. Yeah, it was a messy one to say the least. And that was also when Enzo was subbing in as Fearoth at the time, before he had even
become Enzo.
Take well, I mean his name is his legal name is Enzo.
I
know what you meant, right? Before he'd made it official. Locking it in. We reach the climax of this pick'em video. The hardest set of games to predict, I feel. You're going to counterpoint and say, you know what, it's fairly clear cut, because I think it might be.
I'm going to say this is not Group D, this is Group Mid, because every single one of these teams at Tokyo did not perform to the way they should have and performed mid. So I feel as if it's whoever can find the form that they have shown previously. I think Loud's got more chance than any of them. DRX need to pick up need to find out what duelist they're going to play. Na'Vi need to find out what style they want to play. And Liquid, I guess it's more the same as Loud.
This should be Group F for fun. This is going to be like the best group, 100%. I mean, everyone says that, but this is the other thing though, right? I think if you showed me this group out of context, just the bracket and the teams, about 6 months ago, and said this will happen in a tournament later in the year,
it's top four.
I would have said this is the top 4 teams in an international event.
Yeah.
But Liquid, they've had a couple of teething issues. International events haven't really been their thing ever. Na'Vi are washed. I'm sorry. That's just to put it bluntly. Those games against Koi in LCQ should have been a real eye-opener for people who still think that they're a consistent top 3 EMEA team, because I feel as if their status is somewhat diminished / struggling. Individually, they have very, very good players, but the macro sometimes that leaves me scratching my head a bit. Like, they can bail themselves out with these sort of flashy plays from time to time, but for the most part, just as a team and like the fundamentals, the mechanics, how it functions on a day-to-day basis, it's like a guy on the verge of death just taking a stim pack when he needs it. You know what I mean? I don't think it's quite where it should be, but to look at this as just this game, it just has to be Liquid.
I feel as if like Liquid are going to be the 2-0 team for this group.
Okay.
Because I feel as if, like, I don't know, I feel as if they've got more chance. I mean, it could go anyway, honestly. It could be, I think it's going to be Liquid and Loud to qualify, basically, is what I'm going to say from this group. Straight off the bat. I feel as if for them to find their form, or for them to fix their issues, is going to be easier than what Na'Vi and DRX have.
This is a tough group, I think. Because no one knows how much a certain team's problems are going to affect them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Liquid do beat Na'Vi, unless Na'Vi turn around and become normal again. And I back them then going all the way through as my 2-0 team. Beyond that, things start to get a little bit interesting with DRX Loud. I hope there should be no reason why a Loud, where despite the drama and rumours, etc., cannot beat a dysfunctioning DRX team.
It's a strange one, right? I feel like this group is going to leave someone dissatisfied, whichever way you flip it.
Yeah.
It reminds me in some ways of the Champs group we had in 2021, the Cloud9 Vision Strikers Fnatic one.
Yeah.
Where one of those teams had to go home, and it could be similar scenes here with DRX going out. I think I have Loud to win this one. Loud, they got to cut out the noise. They've got to cut out the noise, stick true to the Loud name. Vamos. They could be back, right? I really don't know. Just put Aspas on the jet, put an op in his hands, stop messing around with the oi, I'm pissed. The neon, you know, like just stick to what you know works. You didn't need to reinvent the wheel. You can make it out of this group just playing the good Valorant that you set the precedent of. You made double walls, just stick to it, play it, and make it good. And that brings them an upper final. Then in the elimination game, one of the last games that we have here in the Pick'ems video, Na'Vi DRX. Where is our head at with this one?
DRX win.
Na'Vi win. I think DRX are crumbling more than Na'Vi are. And it's only because of that. I think Na'Vi have too much of an idea of what they're doing. Na'Vi are doing things. And as far as I'm aware, they are agreeing on what they're doing, and then they're going and putting them into practice. However, what they're doing, and the ideas they seem to agree on, aren't good enough. DRX, on the other hand, they're definitely not agreeing on what they're doing, and they're crumbling left, right, and centre.
My hope is DRX have finally picked a duelist. They finally went like that. Right, we're just going to play how we know we can play, how we played in lock-in, and then they're going to come out and then they're going to be like, right, okay, we're decent, but we're not good enough to beat Loud. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that everyone gets the lock-in form, apart from the teams that played bad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
For me, as you've both gone the opposite way, I have the Angel and the Devil on my shoulder. I will not tell you who either of those are. Na'Vi, DRX, like, honestly, give me a Mako Masterclass. Give me Foxy9 on Jet. Give give it all to me, inject it straight into my bloodstream. But I've got Na'Vi winning. So into the upper bracket final, there's only one answer that I can realistically give you, and that is Wamo Loud. Wamo. Easy qualification for me.
I've seen this one somewhere
Bring
before.
him back. Just reload it. Run it back. I can play the same clip again on the video. It's not a problem.
Yeah. I went for something similar. I went for this, but it's for Liquid, baby. It's for Liquid, and they're gonna win. They're gonna win, and I'll tell you why. Because Safe is gonna go and go straight into site and kill them all. That's what it's all about. I'm telling you right now.
I think that the thing for me here as well is we actually had an interesting conversation the other day off camera, right, about Loud.
Yeah.
If they were to do well in Champs, would you count the year as a success or not?
Yes,
you have to remember they finished second place in lock-in, which ultimately they should have closed out if we're being real. You know, in spite of the biggest and greatest grand final comeback that we have ever seen in a singular contained map. Then you look at the main season, they ended up winning VCT Americas. I think that's something which a lot of people have just pushed to the back of their minds, considering how NRG did with recency bias in Tokyo. It was a significant drop-off. Still, at the very least, they had put themselves into the knockout stages. I don't think they won a single map, actually, at that event, if I recall. So I don't know. Coming into Champs here, if they were to win it back-to-back, then I would love to see that. And I think it would be a nice way to close off the year by having this Loud that sort of went missing since lock-in finally return in the 11th hour to greet Fnatic on the grandest of stages yet again. And that's a story that I would love to see.
I was going to say, like, I think if it's Fnatic versus Loud in the final, you have arguably the best storyline ever of, like, Loud having 3 of their members becoming 2-time world champs, like, defending their world championship title, or you have Fnatic who have, like, a flawless year, apart from, like, VCT, EME, an international flawless year. So I think, like, whatever happens here is going to be, like, an interesting one. I think, like, again, it's whether Loud can fix the issues that were obviously happening at Masters Tokyo.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very interesting one.
Yeah.
But Liquid are winning.
Okay. Well, we'll agree to disagree. Lower bracket final, Liquid or Loud versus a fairly unanimous Na'Vi / also maybe DRX. I don't know. Who do we
Na'Vi are losing that one, yeah. Again, whether it is Liquid or Loud, I think we have we have both of those two teams going through.
Yeah. Okay.
In one way or another.
Yeah.
Is that you as well, Kairo? So you think that DRX can perhaps win this game, but that Liquid would win here?
Yeah.
Or that
100%.
Liquid would win here, sorry, but then Loud would go through?
Whether Liquid or Loud win the upper bracket final, I still think they go through no matter what.
Okay. Those are the pick'ems for Group D. Okay.
I want to raise one final point here.
Okay.
And it's we return to the law. We return to Valorant international events.
We dust them off.
We're opening the tomes.
Okay.
It's the second place curse. EG.
Ooh.
Are they going to be the first team to break it? Or are they going out to FPX and Footballist?
They won't go out to FPX.
I mean, surely this would have been the point to raise when we were still talking about Group B, but
no, we're leaving it. I'm leaving it there. I'm leaving it as an open question because I would rather back rationality than law and suspicion, but I'm leaving that for the audience to consider.
Do you think that EG will be able to overcome the second place curse?
Yes. I think they should, but maybe they don't.
I mean,
it's the analysis that everyone was looking for.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
They should, but maybe they don't is probably the story of every single one of these pick'em videos that we've ever done. But who knows? We'll have to see how things pan out. This is the full set. We have plenty more Champions stuff on the way, or at least I hope so. I want to maybe try and delve back into some more of those breakdown videos that I did before, which I trialed with Focus in Ascension. Kairo's in the kitchen cooking right now. I will be too. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it, right? Like the X Factor. Call me.
It's the DX one. It's the like, you know what I mean?
What?
You know?
Gangnam Style.
No, DX, like bro, you not watch wrestling?
No. Also, I'm going to be running a sweepstake for champions. We have 16 spots. Join my Discord. The link will be in the description below. It will be a very small entry fee, but the winner takes it all. We're going to be randomly dividing it amongst everyone, and hopefully it can be a little bit of fun for everybody. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. 07.